Did you know that in A Midsummer Night's Nightmare, the 36th Dylan Dog issue published in September 1989, the nightmare investigator gets involved in a disturbing case connected to a mysterious ritual among the ancient stones of Stonehenge? Young Vicky Connery claims to have witnessed a sacrilegious ceremony performed by hooded figures, accompanied by human sacrifices, and because of this, she is being hunted by pursuers both strange and ruthless. So much so that even Dylan struggles to believe her story. In trying to protect her, Dylan must navigate between ancient legends and real threats, where every clue hides new surprises and horror can emerge from the most unexpected places. The artwork by Giuseppe Montanari and Ernesto Grassani makes the sinister atmosphere of the issue palpable, with deep shadows and unsettling details that heighten the sense of tension and mystery. A Midsummer Night's Nightmare is an issue that combines horror, mystery, and esoteric suggestion, remaining one of the most memorable chapters of Dylan Dog's classic series. Did you know that in The Tiger's Dream, the 37th issue of Dylan Dog, published in October 1989, the nightmare investigator finds himself investigating a series of brutal murders in which the victims are thugs and criminals. They are slaughtered with a ferocity reminiscent of an attack by a wild beast, possessing the strength and speed of a tiger. The story introduces the character of Celine, a young woman marked by a childhood trauma. As a child, she was kidnapped by a tiger, and since then she has believed herself bound to the animal by a dark fate, to the point of thinking she transforms into a tiger to punish those she considers guilty. The plot unfolds as an investigation suspended between the supernatural and the human psyche, with Dylan trying to understand whether behind the Night Avenger there is a genuine unexplainable phenomenon, a curse, or a broken mind that has turned the desire for justice into obsession. Luigi Piccato's artwork amplifies the wild and dramatic atmosphere with dynamic panels, strong shadows, and action sequences that make the tiger a constant and threatening presence, almost symbolic. The Tiger's Dream remains one of the most intense episodes of the first phase of the classic series, capable of combining action, tragedy, and moral reflection in a single powerful night hunt. Did you know that in A Voice from Nowhere, the 38th issue of Dylan Dog, published in November 1989, the nightmare investigator is faced with a mystery that blends apparent fatality with unsettling communications from beyond the grave. Dylan investigates the death of James Matheson, whose disfigured body is found among the soaked leaves of the Dark Hole Forest, and what at first might seem like a tragic hunting accident soon reveals itself to be a case full of ambiguity and secrets that all the victims' friends and acquaintances seem eager to hide. As Dylan digs through conflicting accounts, reluctance, and half-truths, strange phone calls begin to reach the widow and others who were present that night. As if the deceased himself were speaking from the other end of the line, a voice that seems to come from nowhere and defies any rational explanation. The tension rises as silence and omissions become obstacles to overcome, and the only viable lead appears to be that very voice, which might hold the truth no one wants to reveal. The artwork by Montanari and Grassani helps create an atmosphere of fog, eerie woods, and suspicious glances, reinforcing the idea that the mystery lies not only in the facts, but also in the shadows of what is left unsaid. A Voice from Nowhere is an issue that combines classic investigation with supernatural undertones, showing how truth sometimes resonates in the quietest and most impenetrable spaces. Did you know that in The Lord of Silence, the 39th issue of Dylan Dog released in December 1989, the nightmare investigator faces one of the most philosophical and disturbing stories in the entire series, centered on a truth so shocking about human existence that anyone who discovers it is driven to suicide? The story revolves around an enigmatic, almost biblical figure who traverses the centuries, carrying this ultimate revelation and leaving behind a trail of death and despair. Dylan finds himself drawn into an investigation that becomes a journey through pain, solitude, and existential questions with no answers. Throughout the story, characters on the margins of society emerge, people scarred by violence, addiction, and failure, who, when confronted with this truth, take on a tragic and profoundly human dimension, making it impossible to judge them superficially. The issue builds an atmosphere filled with unease and reflection, where the true horror is not something visible, but resides in the very awareness of the meaning of life, turning curiosity into a curse and knowledge into an unbearable burden. Casatano's artwork accompanies this descent into the abyss with a dark and intense style, emphasizing the emotional void and despair of the characters, shaping a narrative that strikes more through suggestion than explicit depiction. The Lord of Silence goes beyond traditional horror, becoming a cruel and clear-eyed reflection on existence and the human need to find meaning even where it may not exist. Did you know that it happened tomorrow? The 40th issue of Dylan Dog, published in January 1990, confronts the nightmare investigator with one of the most unsettling mysteries tied to time and destiny. It all begins when Dylan comes into possession of a newspaper that shouldn't exist, as it reports news and events that have not yet happened, but are destined to occur, including details that directly concern his own life and future, pushing him to question how much of fate is already written and whether it is truly possible to change it. As the story unfolds, Dylan finds himself trapped in a spiral of increasingly disturbing premonitions and coincidences, where every attempt to avoid what he has read seems instead to bring it to pass, fueling a growing sense of inevitability and tension. The presence of his journalist friend and the appearance of a character inspired by Chico Marx add a surreal and almost mocking tone, which contrasts with the anguish of the situation and makes the story even more disorienting. Giovanni Frigeri's artwork perfectly accompanies this temporal game, with panels that emphasize the sense of uncertainty and a reality that begins to crack under the weight of a predetermined future. It Happened Tomorrow is an issue that reflects on free will, destiny, and the paradox of time, showing how knowledge of the future can become the greatest of condemnations. If you want to keep exploring Dylan Dog's darkest nightmares, like and follow so you don't miss the next journeys into horror. See you soon.